Okay, please welcome the candidates for VP of BSG Affairs, John Connolly, 11, and Ian Yaffe, 09, who's represented by his proxy, Mike Bartha. Wait, hey, let's take this moment to turn off any annoying cell phones. Okay. All right. Steve will ask the first question, and Mike will respond first with 2 minutes. Ready? Commence.
All right. Mike and Ian. BSG lost a number of members to resignations this year. Some found the time commitment overwhelming. How should BSG be balancing the needs of its members and its duties to the student body? And what can be done to improve the efficiency of BSG's operations?
Time is one of the most important things we have. Being someone who thinks wasting time is wrong, being in Cuba where nobody's time is worth anything, has been full of challenges just as much as rewards. Armed with a new appreciation of how valuable time is, I hope to make BSG as efficient and streamlined as possible. More importantly, BSG needs to accomplish tangible goals that will provide everyone with a sense of getting somewhere. It's time to stop arguing about how things are going to be done and instead focus on simply getting them done. With a little creativity and improved communication, BSG can accomplish more because the student body will ask it to do more. The goal is to make BSG do more with less time. Clear job descriptions should be created that include a list of routine weekly activities and time commitments. Information about each meeting should be made available by email for representatives and on the website for the student body before the meeting so that it can be reviewed early, allowing the meetings to take up less time. Meeting minutes, and meetings for that matter, should be organized by topic and reflect a sense of importance for the subject at hand, not small talk and jokes between representatives. For example, the official meeting minutes from 26 March state, "Tonight will be complicated, probably long, and definitely boring." No wonder people are resigning. BSG has had years now to make this happen. Every year, the BSG turns out members who say they are going to make things more efficient. But here we are, 3 years later, and this is still the #1 issue. I'm here to offer a different perspective on the role of student government, the power it can actually obtain, and the value of people's time.
Thank you, Ian, speaking for John, same question. Would you like it repeated? Steve?
BSG lost a number of members to resignations this year, some finding the time commitment overwhelming. How should BSG be balancing the needs of its members and its duties to the student body, and what can be done to improve the efficiency of BSG's operations?
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, the resignations we had this year were a major concern, and they actually really hampered our efficiency. So that is something we definitely need to try to avoid, and I think already with our recently wrapped up constitutional amendment process, we're not going to have as big a deal with that next year because, as we can see by this election, where every single seat is opposed, everyone wants to be on BSG. Everyone knows what they're getting into. Everyone knows the time commitment involves. So we're not going to face as many issues with resignations next year, I don't think, with last year's election, which was fairly unopposed for many seats. As far as reducing the time commitment for members, I think we could look to shifting some of the committee meetings around. The SOC, for example, could, because it doesn't need to meet right before BSG, it can meet at a different schedule weekly. We could move the executive committee meeting back earlier in the week so that other committee meetings would have more time. We could make the move to 8:30 p.m. Permanent move for the BSG, regular meeting on Wednesdays, so that we have more time to do our regular activities. And I think, you know, it's an interesting point that that the BSG meeting packet is full of jokes, and that if we buckle down and we're serious, that people wouldn't resign. But I don't actually agree with that in the least, because I think if we make BSG really rules conscious and hardcore, people standing up at mics debating and doing things like this all the time, that no one's going to want to be there. But if we make it fun and exciting and enjoyable, then people are going to want to be involved. Students are going to come, people are going to be excited, no one's going to resign. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Mike, would you like 45 seconds to respond? You don't have to, because obviously you're president. Okay.
Just a little bit of clarification. Like, I don't know exactly where he stands on certain policies, but from knowing Ian, I would say that he's not saying that he wants to create a totally serious environment where there's not going to be any fun. I think that's ridiculous for any, you know, if you think a 21-year-old's going to act like a 40-year-old. I mean, you know, he's in college. He likes to have fun too. So I think from all of us that know Ian, that he's not, you know, just like this stoic, serious guy that's just going to, you know, business, there's going to be fun at the meetings if he were a BSG Affair VP, but I think what his goal is to save people's time and to make the meetings more efficient, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Katie's going to ask this question, and John will be the first to respond.
As VP for BSG Affairs, you're going to be responsible for focusing and guiding the president and the BSG and its agenda as a whole. Can you critique this year's performance of the BSG, and next year, how are you going to improve upon it?
Thanks, Kata. Overall, I think the BSG did a great job this year. I'm not going to lie. I think we were more focused, more committed to students, and less involved with ourselves than we've ever been before. But that being said, I think we did still do a constitutional referenda. It was the shortest and most successful in history, but that doesn't matter. We still did one, and no one cares about that. So next year, let's not do one. The Constitution is where it needs to be. There's no more need for constitutional amendments, so we can chuck that out the door and never worry about them again, unless it's absolutely necessary. So that's one major thing that I would change. I would also say that this year we had potentially, especially early on in the year, an issue necessarily representing exactly what students wanted. We found out with the credit detail debate that there were more students who, in fact, favor the faculty move. Now, I'm not saying that most people do, and I'm not saying that I do, but I'm saying that was an opinion that we didn't necessarily hear. So I propose increasing surveys and referenda and reaching out to the student body, actually talking to our constituents to find out what they want. Because being responsive to their concerns is our main job, and it's my job as VP of BSG Affairs to make sure we're doing that. Finally, I think we can be seen as a little too over the top with email sometimes. I think we did a great job cutting down this year. Will, as communications director, didn't flood people's inbox too much, but I still think people are starting to channel it out. So I think we could create a small affiliate list of BSG affiliates, people who are really, really excited about the BSG and want to know everything that we do. And we could send them everything we do, and then they could tell their friend groups. We could keep most of the stuff out of most people's inboxes and only save the really, really important information for everyone else.
Thank you, John. Mike has 2 minutes to respond to the same question.
This year's BSG has focused more on tangible goals, but still managed to get hung up on internal issues frequently. Several important members of the BSG resigned due to a lack of progress or too high a time commitment. Available documents were routinely not made available to the public in a timely manner. The mandate between elected representatives and the voting population was tough to find, since only 20% of the student body voting and less than half of the representatives being elected at all. Last week, the president of BSG described members of the body as being incompetent and confused during that week's meeting. More people participate in a survey about TV channels than in a survey about BSG elections. A government is only as powerful as the number of people it represents. By that method, the outing club could be more representative, percentage-wise, of Bowdoin student body than our own student government. Perhaps the biggest way I see of improving the BSG is through competition. For the first time since I've been at Bowdoin, every officer will be elected through a true election. That is to say, with opponents. Hopefully, this will also result in a higher voter turnout than others. It shouldn't stop there. If the BSG is having trouble gaining and retaining members, the number of members should be reduced. If someone has a good idea, procedural issues shouldn't make it take 3 weeks for their idea to be enacted on. 1 week to present, 1 week to propose legislation, and 1 week to vote. Overall, the procedural aspects of BSG should be left to each assembly to decide so that issues can be acted on in the most efficient way possible. The needs of the student body change every year, so the BSG needs to be flexible as possible so it can meet those needs in an already limited amount of time.
Thank you. Okay, I see we already have a question from the audience. Let's just